Oh, hello YouTube. Today in the Naughty Librarian, I'm going over a bunch of books I still need to read. I am still on my antibiotics from my tick bite and I do not feel well still, but I'm trying my best. So I'm going to drink a LaCroix out of a wine glass because it makes me feel better. Anyway, I just did that massive YA clean out of all of my shelves. It was bananas, like so many books, and I figured I would go over the books that made the cut. What are staying on my shelves? Let's go. Oh, hello. Hi everybody, it's Future Amanda. I'm editing this video. Well, I've already edited the video, but I just wanted to put in a little insert here. You'll see at the bottom of the screen a count of books, and the reason for that later will become apparent. But I think it's fun. So anyway, here's my little insert. Enjoy, guys. I'm keeping Broken Things by Lauren Oliver, and this one was a surprise because I didn't think I was gonna like it. I read other things by Lauren Oliver and I wasn't always into them, and then this one is very intriguing right from the get-go. It's kind of like loosely based around the Slender Man case. You can Google it. I don't want to go into it in this video, but it's basically three young girls who are best friends until one day they all go into the woods and two of them kill the other one. Allegedly. So it's kind of a murder mystery and like dark, creepy forest stuff and like complicated friendships. And I'm like, oh, I am intrigued. I'm gonna read this. Also sticking around on my shelves, I have Sherwood by Megan Spooner, and this one is kind of like gender bent Robin Hood, and oh boy, it is a action-packed opening chapter. There's like a huge battle and like arrows getting shot like really far, and like they're gotta save the king, and it's all this stuff, and I was like, holy moly, like that's a lot of a first chapter. Also staying is Pride by E.B. Zaboy. This one I'm glad I'm keeping. It's signed, I met the author, and I just haven't read it for years. But it's kind of a modern day Pride and Prejudice retelling, but this time it's dealing more with like gentrification in Brooklyn. I mean, I love Pride and Prejudice now, so I want to read kind of a lot of adaptations. If someone says like, oh, it's a Pride and Prejudice retelling, like, I'm already kind of interested, and has a fun first chapter, so I'm excited. Also staying on my shelves is Beasts Made of Night by Tochi Onyebuchi. I read one other book by Tochi Onyebuchi, which was War Girls, and honestly, it is fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that, so I'm like, what else has he put out? So I got this one, and it's kind of like, I don't know, like loosely African mythology based, and there's these people who are like sin eaters essentially, and when they can like eat people's sins, but it becomes like a beast tattoo on their body kind of, which sounds like very tropey YA, but the way it's done in here, it's actually really cool. So I am fascinated by this. I am really excited to see where this goes. I'm also keeping Dealing in Dreams by Lilium Rivera because, oh boy, like this was a book, like I started reading, like only read like a couple pages and I was already into it. Like there's some books I know right away I'm gonna like, and this is gonna be one of them. This one is kind of, I think it's like loosely fantasy based, but it's like this girl gang. We're following Nyla, and she kind of wants out of this girl gang life. She's tired of having to fight with people all the time. She just wants to like, you know, move on up. She wants to move into like this big tower in town, like where all the rich people live. She wants to go live there. And so it's kind of like her trying to figure out ways to do that, and perhaps some of them are bad ways. I don't know, but like, oh boy, this is like really cool right away. So I'm into this. I'm also keeping Game Board of the Gods by Rochelle Mead. Now this one, I'm not 100% sure if it's supposed to be YA or not. I think it might be adult, but I'm throwing it in with the YA because I read it thinking it was YA. This one is kind of like post-apocalyptic America. Well, maybe not post-apocalyptic, just futuristic America. But it had been devastated by like groups of religious zealots, and now they have like the Praetorian Guard, and they're like elite like soldiers, and they gotta solve like a murder mystery. And I mean, I kind of am into the world this is taking place in. I mean, here's the thing with Rochelle Mead. I enjoy Rochelle Mead. I'm such a fan of the Vampire Academy series. and the sequel series to that, like I'm a sucker for it, so I just really like her writing style, so of course I'm kind of gonna get into this, but I want to see what it's like. Like I read the first chapter and I was intrigued. It had some really cool action. Let's see where this is going. Who's gonna get murdered? I'm gonna keep Vengeance Road by Aaron Bowman. I don't know what it is about Westerns, but like I get so excited for them. I don't know what it is. I just like Westerns. And this one starts out with like a good Western trope of you killed my pa and I'm out for revenge. And I'm like, yes, so Westerny, I love it. And we're following Kate as she is out, you know, to hunt down the guys who killed her pa and figure out what's going on with that. I've only read the first chapter. Well, you know what, I finished the first chapter, but I kind of knew like immediately I was going to keep this. This was one of those like first page of like, oh, this is good. So I'm excited. It's a new Western for me. I am also keeping Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. Holy potatoes, you guys. Like the first chapter of this, I was flummoxed. Like I didn't know what to do with myself. It was so good. It's based in a world that's kind of loosely designed as the Spanish Inquisition, except now it's like a fantasy world, so people have like magical powers and stuff. And holy potatoes, like it was kind of like the first chapter of this book is really kind of a prequel chapter, you know what I mean? It's like the first chapter and then I think there's like a time jump, I'm gonna assume, or like they're gonna go to a completely different situation, because I mean, that can't be the whole book, the first chapter. There's a pretty conclusive end to that. So, holy moly, like I'm so into this. I'm so into this. I'm so excited to read you. Oh my word. I wish I would have read it sooner. That's the only thing I have to say. I'm also going to keep Hunted by the Sky by Tanaz Batena. I'm not sure the pronunciation of that, but oh my goodness gracious. This is another like, whoa, you're just dropped right into the action, but like in a good way. Like, oh my God, I'm going to read you the first line. I knew immediately, oh, I'm keeping this. I don't even need to read the whole chapter. The first line is, they come for us in the night and they shoot my father through the skull. Period. That's the first sentence. I'm like, oh, this is dark for YA. I'm into it. But essentially it's this girl who's on the run from the people who are like hunting her family. I think she has like this birthmark, and like people with this birthmark are like getting taken and her family's getting killed and she has to like run for her life. And I was like, this is a lot to start a book with and I'm into it so much. So I'm so excited for this one. I'm going to keep Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. This one I was really, really on the fence about. It's about these two brothers and like people just like have superpowers in this world and like they develop them. And I think the brothers want the powers, but then like they're like, oh, it's too gauche, you know, I'm too cool for powers, you know? They're like typical teenagers. And there's superheroes in this world and stuff, and supervillains. I love that. I love it. I just like how the characters feel distinctly their own age, but in a good way, not in a so immature way that it's like, I can't read a whole book with these people. They feel like they are 16, 17, 18 years old, but like in a way that you could have a conversation with them as a human being, but they still feel their age. It's a rare thing to find in YA sometimes, and like this one was killing it. Also superpowers, so into it. The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. This one I've had on my shelf for quite some time, and it's like magic horse racing. I'm so into it. And I think the horses eat people, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure because I only read the first chapter, but oh boy, this is a lot of horse racing and they're magical horses. And you know what? Something about magical horses was just hitting something different at this moment. Just like, yeah, you ride your magic horses. I'm into this. So, yeah, keeping it for magical horses. I am keeping Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevers, and this is about assassin nuns. Like, already you should be like, I'm listening. But this, again, this is a very intense opening chapter. It's kind of, I guess, medieval era, or, I don't know, Middle Ages. I don't know. It's like 1200 or something, around that year. And we're following this girl who everyone says she's been touched by the god of death because, like, reasons. And and she's not having a good time. And then eventually she gets, like, saved, and they take her to this monastery where she's supposed to, like, get training. And that's kind of where the first chapter ends. But it is an intense first chapter She has to literally fight for her life. Maybe this is like a thing that has made me want to keep books. It's just like, if it's real murdery in chapter 1, I'm into it, apparently. I don't know what this says about me as a human, but I was intrigued by the first chapter. The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid, and one of the reasons I'm keeping this is mainly because Leanna from Leanna's Library, I know, loves this. So I'm like, I have to read it. I have to give it a good go. And again, murdery opening chapter, except this is with kids. The kids aren't getting murdered. The kids are doing the murdering. So go with me here. There's this world, and like super rich people can get a Diabolic, and that's like it's like an android kind of, but is a bodyguard, and like they train it to completely love the person they're being the bodyguard for. It's like kind of fucked up, really. And this is a child Diabolic who's getting matched to another child, and there's murder in the first chapter. It's a lot. So I mean, it starts in a pretty dark place. I want to see where this is going. I'm keeping The Companion by Katie Allender. So this one's a little bit of a change of pace because it's not a murder in the first chapter, but it is a horrible car accident where everyone gets killed. What is wrong with me? But anyway, we're following Margot. Her whole family, and her included, are in this horrible car wreck, and she is a sole survivor. So now she's like in an orphanage, and you know, she's trying her best just to get by. You know, she's in a rough place, and eventually she gets adopted by this family looking for a companion for their kid. So and I'm assuming spooky things come because there is, you know, a spoonful of needles. But again, I really liked Margot. She had like a really cool character. I like how she was written on the page. Like, she was really fascinating to read about. I liked her point of view. I liked how she talked to people. So Margot seems like a really cool character, and I want to read more about them. I'm just going to continue on my path to becoming a supervillain because I'm also keeping The Girl from the Well by Rin Chupeco. This is about a ghost of a murdered girl. I really didn't know that all of the books I kept were murder books until now. Like, I really didn't. I am a supervillain, apparently. But anyway, we're following a ghost, and she is the ghost of a murdered person, and she kind of looks for other murdered spirits. And I mean, this is another one that right away I'm like, oh, this is good and spooky and delightful. Well, you know what I mean by delightful. But I just like reading about murder all the time, I guess. Orphan Monster Spy by Matt Colleen. So here's the theme that keeps running through my books. It starts off with a girl running for her life. But this time she's running from Nazis. So, you know, she's having a rough time. Eventually she gets, I don't know about saved, but definitely like maybe recruited by this guy who's like, hey, you want to hunt some Nazis back? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, you're gonna be my spy. And she goes and does spy shit. And I was like, yes. Yes, you know, because fuck Nazis, right? Good. Spy on them all you like. Destroy them. Like, I am a villain and I want to read about murder. Last book I'm keeping is The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tolkey. And I have had this described to me as a gender-bent Beowulf. From the first chapter, I did not get Beowulf, but I did enjoy it, and it's about this group of girls who go around murdering people. I should just call this Here's All My Murder Books. Well, I mean, they don't go around murdering just willy-nilly. They're kind of like mercy kills, like people who are old or very, very sick and they're dying, so they just kind of like give them that mercy, essentially. And, you know, they're a big girl gang and they're doing stuff, and it's a really cool, interesting world. I like the characters, this cover. Ugh, its cover's so pretty. And, you know, it's got lots of murder, which apparently is what I look for in books. Well, so that concludes my trip down murder lane. Apparently I have a thing. We've all learned something about me today. But the good thing is, regardless of the murder content, I really am very excited about all these books, and I probably would not have gotten around to them anytime soon if I didn't do my Try a Chapter challenge. So, winning, doing great, doing the best, killing it. Let me know in the comments down below, what's a trope or just a thing in books that you never realized you were into, apparently, because for me, it's apparently hyper bloody first chapters of books. That's what I like, apparently. Who knows? I'm obviously a villain in life. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon.